is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cylon Johns and Jill's Network. I am Johnny B. Crazy. As always, I have my co-host here who will introduce himself. How are you doing, bud?
Hey, John St. Baptiste here. I'm doing really well. We've got a bright day in Ohio for the first time in forever. I actually will have to wear my sunglasses on my way to work today, so that's exciting.
And
it's not raining.
That's always a good sign. You got the sun shining on you. Proof again that you are not a vampire. I am vexed. You're not glittering, but you could have foundation on. I'm not fooled quite yet. Not 100% certain. But we have a fantastic episode to talk about today. This was originally supposed to be one whole episode. It turns into two parts. This is David Icke's first, basically, writing, as far as he wrote a telefilm series. This is his first attempt at it. He did really well, in my opinion. Season 2, Episode 6, Home, Part 1. And yeah, it's just a really good episode from the beginning. This one's really a lot about Rosalind's decision and about Adama dealing with himself, his inner demons, his injuries, and everything that's happened on the Galactica. A little bit of action at the end, and we will get kind of into it. John, what's your thoughts on the episode, and where would you like to begin, Mr. Expert? Because you are the man when it comes to BSG.
Ooh, I love this episode. There's a lot of allusion to what's going to happen in the rest of the series and how things are going to play out. It drops a lot of hints that you're going to realize further down the line this season, and especially in the preceding seasons that follow after this. Let's see, where do we start at? Well, it now says that there are 47,858 people, where it was 857 last week. So I guess that soul, so to speak, is Sharon Valeri, because that's the only person who's been added to anything. I do think it's interesting that even though almost a third of the fleet jumped away, they still consider all of it part of a whole. So yeah, I think the first thing that we should really bring up is let's just dive right in. What Aloysia says when she's talking about going down to the planet, down to Koval.
Yeah, she immediately kind of predicts her own death here. Someone's gonna have to die. People are gonna have to die for this mission to be accomplished. And I'll just throw out there that they originally wrote her to kind of have her own agenda and push Rosalind in a more draconian direction with, I would say, more strict religious fervor. But they didn't end up going that way. And I think it worked out really good. I mean, I'm sorry for laughing. I was thinking about the original cut where she got hit with the landmine and flies in the tree. I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought it was a really good scene. I'll let you touch on it.
Well, I like that they didn't go in that direction. I do think down the road there may be other people of a religious bent who might be like that, but I like that this character has been a sympathetic character through the show. I think it would have been a big 180 if she had just totally changed her personality. When it comes to, especially in entertainment, where you have to pick and choose how much gray area you show about a person, generally you go one way or the other with people of a religious bent, and I liked that they always kept her as someone who is a little more sympathetic of a character, so to speak.
Yeah, and I, yeah, to your point, I don't even think they need it. It's already driven up enough. There's enough around Rosalind to drive her in that direction. We'll see which way she goes, uh, but there's enough to push her there. She's already made a bunch of decisions she's gonna have to deal with. To your point earlier about what this episode kind of sets up, and as well to your point about Sharon, and are they counting Hilo back as well as one?
I don't know. I guess they considered. Yeah, that's an interesting question that I hadn't even thought about, because I guess they've considered Hilo part of the Survivor, the fleet, the whole time. I really need to go back and check and see if when they showed the Resistance, if that if they when they showed the Resistance on Caprica, if they added those numbers in. I got to look back and see that. I'll try and do that by Friday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because there's definitely something there with that. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even think about the one being added back. So that is a plus. Until Alosha finds the landmine. That was what an intense scene. Great scene. Just the Centurions in themselves. Badass. I know you love it, John. I think there's a Twitter handle out there with one of these on there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that would be the Cylon Johns. Um, Definitely follow them. You can find all sorts of things Cylon. Also link them to some other great, huge BSG fans. Just be very careful, because a lot of these are people who are huge fans who've watched the show a number of times. So if you follow any people who follow them, you're going to get some spoilers. So you might want to hold off on that. Kind of up in the air about that one. But yeah, Silent Centurions are awesome. When the shit eventually goes down, I will have some surrounding my house. And
Yes.
that's with me.
Oh hell no! They don't miss. Did they bring up Friday about Hilo kind of just standing there in the open and not getting shot?
No, we didn't talk about that.
Maybe we'll
At
get them
least
to
if I
speculate
recall.
on that.
Usually I watch these again before we do this on Monday, but we had a crazy weekend at work.
Yeah, we'll
Sorry.
get them to speculate on that Friday. Because he was just standing there chilling. If I can find it here, blah blah blah. I probably won't be able to, because classic fail moments. Um, but you know, sorry, not here. Whatever. I won't be able to find it because I'm a massive asshole. No, but he was just kind of standing there. It's something they can chit chat about.
While you get this pulled up, we can talk about this. I think this is a kind of defining moment for Lee and for Sharon, because he thinks she's running off, and then she grabs a gun, and he thinks she's going to shoot everybody down there. And what she actually does is start shooting the Centurions.
Yeah, she's been doing this a lot, right?
Right.
And just kind of reinforcing the fact that she's not against them. Now, could this be a part of her master plan? I don't know.
Wait, here you go. This is for you, Amy.
playing playing the long game. I could see it both ways, but for now, you kind of want to hope she's on their side. At this point, too, she definitely humanizes the Cylons a little more, and you can kind of see them more as conscious beings rather than robots. But that's all subjective as well. So that's what's great about this show.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, this is somebody who had a gun pointed to her head. At least show-wise, 15 minutes ago. It's really makes you wonder.
Yeah, she's pretty cool and collected under pressure. She's got the good factory settings, I would say. um, hmm. What about the kiss heard around the world, man? Um,
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a season and a half, or a season and a quarter.
where's my soundboard when I need it? But yeah, um, they come back and yeah, Jamie, is it Bamber?
Yeah, Jamie Bamber.
And he actually is the one who improv this scene says that he thought that they should kiss, which I think is a really good moment. If you have any feelings for someone after something like that, yeah, you're gonna kiss them. I think it's a good way to show something. It's in your face, but it's subtle enough the way they play it that you kind of put it aside later. But it's some definite tension there, and how many lovers does Kara have? It may be a question that comes up later.
Very true. I just think it's a nice little payoff on the actor's part, because we as an audience have kind of been shipping this for since the series started, at least to an extent. Or at least I think I know for a fact that I was, and a lot of people were shipping this from the very beginning of the show. And I like that it's just a little kiss. It's not some big intimate, whatever. It's just a little kiss.
Dramatic music cue.
Right.
Yeah. No, it was really good. We'll see. Whatever happens with that develop. We already know that it's such an awkward moment. It's just it makes it more fun, interesting, and realistic because people are complicated. This is complicated. It's just that kind of shows the complexity of these relationships to me. Something as simple as a kiss, but just when it happened, how it happened, how they acted afterwards. Just I don't know. It's really good. Be glad to get back in the mix Friday.
Yeah,
I miss
definitely.
my homies.
We missed you this past Friday. I did my best to hold things together, but nobody can fill your shoes, Johnny.
Yeah. What do you need, buddy? My ass. Um, yeah, look, Baltar is giving you that eye right now, man. I think the scene was thrown in there, and they didn't really even know about it. Actually, I can't remember the way the scene set up. Either way, I think it's kind of funny. I'm waiting for Mr. Bigglesworth to come out and Baltar to ask for $1 million. Full of Dr. Evil. But this does really showcase something that's going on in Baltar's mind, right?
Yeah, and I don't even think it comes across as evil. I just think it comes across as he's really starting to separate himself from the rest of humanity. He's really starting to just look. It's a point where he doesn't feel like a part of humanity anymore. I love how he talks about it. He's like, they're just like, when I was a kid and I'd watch fish swimming upstream, they don't realize what they're doing. And he's supposed to be finding these Cylons. He's like, there's Cylon faces everywhere I look.
He's almost acting like he's some kind of being, some kind of higher being above everyone. Even like he even talks down to six. I mean, this isn't. He talks down to almost everyone. He has this inflated ego, right? That it's like it's hard. It's so complex with Baltar. He has this inflated ego, but then it's mixed with this emotional sentiment that you can almost relate with. But there's a little bit of narcissism there for sure, or maybe a lot. It depends who you ask.
Well, I think it's, at least it's hinted that it's almost gone from narcissism to megalomania. Like, he's always been a narcissistic person, but now, I mean, he just seems so detached. Like it's not a I'm better than you, so you should do this for me. I'm better than you, so you should give it. It's just like I'm not better than you. You're just worse than me.
Yeah, there's. I just thought of something. He looks like Doc Cottle in training right there. He's ready to go. He really does. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in the future to pull out whatever end game is his goal, because he's not even really responding to six and the baby thing right now. He's still kind of just, he's seemingly detaching himself from everything. We'll see what happens with that.
I think it would be a coping mechanism that a lot of people would deal with in a situation that he's been put through. Because he really doesn't feel like he has anybody except for maybe possibly six. Right.
Yeah, and then he's not even sure with that. Um, and it's funny you call him a rational person, right? He has this rational, somewhat rational mind, this way of thinking, this scientific method way of thinking, which, I guess it's subjective whether that's rational or not. I think all of everything we perceive as consciousness and reality is all in the eye of the beholder. Is a perception, because we literally have to make our own reality. I can get you into this mind warping spiral. I don't want to do that, but while I stop rambling, yeah, Baltar is kind of at this crisis of having this crisis of character where he wants to figure out. He's trying to figure out what the hell he is. Not even who he is. He's just trying to figure out what the hell he is. What kind of purpose, and almost feel like he's giving up that there isn't any purpose, even though there's evidence to the contrary, and he keeps having to get slapped in the face with coincidences. So I don't know. It's a really fun character.
Yeah, well, his character a lot of ways reminds me of um, Augustine. When he in City of God, Augustine talks about his conversion to faith and how he keeps having these moments and things where he keeps going back to the person who he had been. It takes a long time for that transition. Almost prodigal type of character, and I think he's had his crisis of not faith, and he's had a few crises of faith, and I think he's kind of in an emotional and spiritual limbo right now.
Yeah, he really is. He's being set up for, I guess you could say, a key or a couple of key moments to significantly change him. That you could argue that he's already had these moments, but he doesn't know what's real and what's not. We have to remember that he's constantly questioning his own sanity and his own beliefs and what he's seeing himself. That's got to be a torture for a scientist.
Yeah, well, not for a scientist, but for a scientist who's always denied any form of higher power or faith or anything like that. I mean, there are scientists who practice both. Actually, one of the greatest astronomical observatories in the entire world's in Vatican City. But for someone who's always had this atheistic view and this very just lack of faith view of science and the universe and everything, that's got to be crazy. It's got to be really hard.
Well, he's thrust back into the state of confusion where he's already thought he's figured most things out. And now he's basically a baby again, being reborn. And slate almost wiped clean, I guess, could be a good way to think about it. he's he's almost nothingness, empty shell of a Baltar.
Either an empty shell or an empty slate.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's a Cylon anyway. It doesn't matter.
Right.
um, I know that you wanted to talk about the old Dewala. She's starting to become really a solid character that has been built up in a great fashion, in my opinion. And it's one of those people who it doesn't say much, but when they say something, it has a bunch of meaning. I'm not one of those people. I rant and rave, whatever. But she is the strong, silent type. And for her to talk like this to Adama, and I'll let you elaborate on what they speak of. Uh, I don't know. It really checks Adama, makes Adama step back and think to himself. Go ahead.
Well, I think Adama realizes something for the first time. Either that or he knew it and just didn't want to admit it. But when she says, "You asked me here because I'd sit and listen to you and agree with you," and I'm not. I'm going to say what I'm thinking. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. That's pretty intense. That's I think that moment has developed her character more than the entire series has thus far. And I think it really took Adama back, but I think it really, gave him the impetus to make the decision that he makes at the end of this episode about getting the family back together. I love the way that was put.
Oh, that was just awesome. And coming from
Sorry, I'm
Adama,
like totally hopped up on green tea right now.
it's all good, man. Just coming from Adama and that, Adama mama voice you got going on there. Just let's go back, put the family back together, guys. And like you said, exactly. He kind of put his pride aside. You say pride. He was hurt. I mean, deeply hurt, physically, emotionally, mentally, on so many levels that it's hard to even. If we sat here and broke down everything that Adama was dealing with, we would be here for an hour, and that's just Adama. And this really conveys it, how strong Dwala is, and I think it's the perfect moment for her to shine, because we've seen hints of her being strong, especially when she checked Billy earlier in the first season, when the whole Roslyn thing was happening, and they were in the viewing chamber. Is that what it is?
Chamber.
Yeah, that little small minute where she was trying to manipulate him emotionally a little bit. It was very, very cute. And, yeah, she's a very strong person, and she's going to tell you if you're doing something wrong. But it takes a lot, right? She usually doesn't say anything. She minds her business, but, it takes a lot. And I think she has to care for you to tell you you're doing wrong. Like Ty, she just let him screw up.
Right.
I think she but really looks out who she cares for. And that's seemingly her personality for me right now. But, as we know, it can always change. I'll stop ranting. I thought I wasn't going to do
Not
this.
ranting at all. Actually, she doesn't get in your face, which I think is a great segue to somebody who does get in your face about how they feel. And please, would you give me my ball back?
Yes. I don't know. It's really, it's funny. Give me my ball back. She was so mad about that, but that's what she's remembering Anders from, right? And still, it puts back this complication because she's still trying. She still likes, I guess, seemingly likes Apollo. This friendship that is brother sister, contentious, or sexual tension thing going on. It depends kind of how you want to look at it, because the kiss was just a kiss. Like you said, it wasn't long and drawn out. There seems to be something there, possibly. They love one another, clearly. Um, I guess you could go back to how, maybe other friends throughout the fleet, um, from Tyrrell and Cali to, I don't know, but here, um, it does make it awkward, especially the viewer knowing that she's thinking about Anders, and I'm pretty sure Apollo's wanting to hit on Kara and so happy she's back. So it's like, oh, Apollo, if you only knew, bro. But he might not even care, given the situation. I mean, I'm not judging.
I think Apollo doesn't really know how he feels, you know.
Good point.
But yeah, this scene was really cool. The dialogue I really liked. You know, especially when she's like, "What was that middle part?" You know, he's trying to tell her, you know, she needs to talk to anybody about anything, blah blah, blah, and he just drops this, you know, "I love you, Kara," and then keeps going on. And then she's like, "What was that middle part?" I really liked how that was done. I liked how it was written quite well.
Yeah, I mean, she like wants. You could tell she wants him to say it again. And it's kind of the root of people too. It goes back to everybody just wants to be loved, right? You
Yeah,
know, everybody wants to be loved by someone. Maybe not everyone, but everybody wants to have someone eventually.
and Kenzie thinks they're going to end up together.
Hey, they may or may not.
Right?
Sasa, we can't tell you, but hey, that is not an unreasonable conclusion. Um, yeah, I don't know. I like their dynamic, and it's a real tension that you can feel. That's you have the secret along with Kara sometimes, and then sometimes you have a secret with Apollo while you're watching these interactions. It pulls you into it, makes you a part of these people's lives. That's the beauty of the show. Huh.
Yeah.
TV boner.
TV boner.
Hashtag.
I really wanted to touch on, and we didn't talk about this before the show. I'm sorry.
All good.
I think it's really cool that from the second they come down on Kobol, it just feels like a toxic, dangerous place. Yeah, every time you're there, the way it's shot, the way things are done, not like Caprica where it's this like uh, intense in your face. It has the nuclear winter lighting, all that. It's more of that creeping, insidious, almost like a haunted house movie feeling that you have when you're on Kobol. Like you always feel tense. And I'm not sure exactly what cinematically they do, but anytime anybody's on Kobol, you always feel like the shit's going to go down any second, like that.
No. Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is really good how they do it. I think it has to do with the angles and how they're panning in. Uh, you can kind of see the motion blur they use sometimes, but it's so crisp. That's one thing here. You see more crispness on Cobalt, sharp. And I think that may be a type of euphemism, and also the haunted house feel. Yeah, I really get that from this. It seems to be a cursed place that no one should be. Um, of all this life they've seen, all this greenery, all this beautiful planet, have they seen any animals?
You know, I don't know that they have.
We heard birds, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, this is
Um,
true. We did hear birds.
Seems pretty sparse, but you would think something would be inhabiting besides centurions. And yeah, they're just waiting on them like sitting ducks. Yeah, they knew what they were walking into. This is something that Rosalind turned them around to go to. but maybe she didn't realize the scope of how haunted the planet was, to your point.
Right. And I know you really wanted to touch on the trap and how it goes back. There's actually it's a real world thing.
Oh yeah, the bouncing Betties. It might be World War II or Vietnam. I can't remember, but it's a bouncing Betty, and yeah, they do pop up, and they're designed to explode at face level. Really scary stuff. They are still like sweeping for mine. It's a type of mine, and there are a few different ones. That is one of the more dangerous ones. That one, a lot of them will just blow your limbs off or blow a leg off, and you can sometimes survive. But this one, survivability rate is not good because it's designed to hit you high. Because that was a problem with mines that they only maimed, they didn't really kill. So that's one reason the bouncing Betty was invented. Then you have the Claymore. It's the horrors of war. They really showed that here. It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, really feel for the people still having to deal with it. I know that people have them in their freaking backyard in some countries, and it's just they remain there for hundreds of years.
Right. It's not like these things decompose or anything like that.
It's a tough thing. Even talking about it kind of gets me in the feels a little bit. Just thinking about just people. I don't know. I'm a big softy. Just thinking about people getting hurt and kind of bothers me. Even though I like MMA and fighting, that's two people agreeing to fight each other. That's not killing and stuff like that. So it's rough. I really like how they showed it here, but you see how crisp it is, and then you got the fog of war going on afterwards, which is a nice touch. The gunfire and the explosions, the dirt blown up. That's really exacerbated here, but I think really shows what it's like. Plus, you have that in real war situations when it's the firefight's real heavy. But yeah.
Yeah. This image does bring something I'd like to ask our panel hypothetically. Moving forward with the Loshagon, she was the religious guidance of the fleet. What's going to happen now?
Damn good question. She was almost, yeah, she was Rosalind's she was Rosalind's spiritual advisor. Uh, and to your point, not only that, an advisor to any uh, religious people on the fleet. She was basically the one that would bless you, the one that would tell you words of wisdom. Um, it's going to be devastating for the people and Rosalind. But what outcomes do you think would happen from this? Because I don't know if I did touch on it. She was supposed to be this manipulative person, but they changed her. And yeah, what the hell is Rosalind and the fleet going to do? Need a Samuel Tarly to show up, maybe, huh?
Aye.
Found it in a book.
My work. A lot's been found in a book. I'd pay for a copy of the Scrolls of Pythia.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
Aye.
You don't have anything out there like that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up because that'd be pretty badass.
I feel like I gotta have it now that you said something.
I know, right?
And y'all did touch on Rosalind, and her kind of coldness towards Boomer and the situation. Even though, as we see, she didn't. She didn't throw her out of the airlock, but that's only because Boomer could be useful to her right now.
Yeah, we're seeing a whole new side of Laura Rosalind.
Yeah, and it begs the question, her limited time schedule, how much is that affecting her decision making? How much will she change from being basically worshipped? Is a good question to throw out to the panelists. Just kind of think about that. And I don't know if I've said this Friday. I feel like I did, but it doesn't really go good most of the time for anybody who's a prophet or a religious leader that makes waves, that changes history. Their outcome usually isn't good. Their mission usually turns out okay, but their outcome doesn't turn out good. And it's I would like y'all to ponder on what could happen to Rosalind, because I've thrown this out there. She could make it and pass away from her natural causes, which she's diagnosed with, or she may have a million other things that could possibly happen to her. I can't keep going. I'm going to get in the spoiler territory if I keep talking, man. Sorry.
Well, prophets do have a record of becoming martyrs. That's all I'm going to say. That might be the case for Laura or not.
And just,
she is allegedly the dying leader.
Can you kill an already dying person? There's your philosophical question. Oh shit! I'm sorry, I dropped. Can you kill an already dying person?
There's a. You dropped again.
I dropped again. Boop 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 boop.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Can you kill an already dying person while my internet fracks me?
Now you dropped again. Yes, I think you can kill an already dying person.
Yeah, I think so too. I just throw that messed up question out there while I just keep dropping in your face. Phrasing. Is there anything you want to touch on this episode?
Those were all my big questions and things that I think got missed a little bit on Friday. We have a great panel. They pick up on so much stuff. I definitely think if you want a more in-depth analysis of this, you should watch Friday's episode where the whole panel's there and we sat and talked down about everything.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I have to give this episode Yeah, I'm trying to think of a funny rating, but everything I think of is just cringeworthy. I guess we could go with I don't know. I'd just give it a 9 out of 10 on the wine a lot meter. Because it's a pretty, if you read into what they're saying a lot, this is kind of an emotional episode without it having a super let's say a super emotional moment. Besides Alosha dying, it's kind of just emotional the whole way through. I'm not really emo, but I did dig it on this because I could feel, and you can almost relate to every single character on the screen. And I think I finished that strong while mumbling up the beginning.
Yeah, that's one of the great things the show is really good at, is making you feel compassion or empathy for every character out there.
That's the wrong picture.
So I guess it's time to go ahead and give our spoilers for next week's episode.
Ooh, we can. And you got a really good one today, man. I think this is no, that's not the right one. There we go. That's the right one. And I do have I have a pretty fun spoiler. It's a good episode. You'll get to see 2 nice heels, and you will have a soccer mom alert. # soccer mom in the chat. It's actually pretty hilarious when you see it. And I will let John give his teaser because it's really good.
Oh, well, I was trying to use song lyrics, and this week's comes from one of my favorite songs by the Grateful Dead. And it's I said I'm running, but I'll take my time. Friend of the devil is a friend of mine.
Can't end any stronger than that. Check out my main channel at Johnny Be Crazy, which will be linked in the description. John St. Baptiste. Does music make the people come together?
Yes, it does.
Check that link in the description. You'll thoroughly enjoy his channel, and you'll get to be exposed to many different types of music. 9 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Check us out. We'll be reviewing Season 2, Episode 7, Home Part 2, spoiler free, with the Cylon Jills, Bobby Catalano, Mackenzie L. Burns, Clarissa Thompson, Amy True, and honorary Jill, who will get up here at some point in time, Julianne89. Also, buy Bobby's stuff. It will be linked in the chat. My Maester's Nook, brought to you by, handmade by Bobby. Bobby Catalano is fantastic. She's not really in it for the money, but if you want something made, she will make something for you. So go check that out. With that, we'll give her a catchphrase so I don't ramble anymore.
So say we all.
So say we are.